The Picle 1 is a 17-pound, extremely compact, manually cranked machine for field and intermittent use. The Auto Picle is motor-driven and helps automate pipe cutting operations. The P for plasma version further accelerates the speed of the process. All of the Picles work by securing them to the pipe with a sturdy chain, which also acts as a track to drive the machine around the circumference. On the Picle 1, the chain passes through the gears of the hand crank. Manually rotating the handle moves the machine around the pipe. The standard length of chain supplied will handle pipe diameters up to 24 inches. The minimum cutting diameter is 4 inches. Additional chain, which can be assembled in any length, is available to increase working capacity. For nearly infinite pipe diameter capacity, simply add and adjust chain length. Other brands of machine work on a fixed chassis, forcing you to buy several models to equal the capacity of the Picles. To set up a Picle machine for pipe cutting, you slide the chain links apart and add or subtract links to get the approximate length required. Then, pass the chain through the gearbox and reassemble. You then take up the slack with a tensioning device. Tech tip number 1. When cutting on larger pipe, 24 inches or greater, it's advisable to crank through a dry run to align the chain and to make sure it's concentric with the pipe and that your cut will be parallel and have the same start-stop point. Because the chain follows the pipe contour, tip to work distance stays consistent without optional attachments. The torch can be racked in and out. A bevel collar allows you to set bevels up to 45 degrees. The Picle 1 has a 3-hose torch manifold set up high away from the heat of the torch. The torch takes standard tips. Don't forget to specify the gas. The Auto Picle is the bigger, motorized version of the Picle 1. It uses the same chain, but because it has a larger wheelbase, the minimum pipe diameter is 6 inches. A clutch on the Auto Picle releases the gears from the motor, allowing you to quickly position the machine and straighten the chain at the same time. A tensioning device similar to that on the Picle 1 takes up the slack in the chain. The Auto Picle is operated from a remote pendant that allows you to monitor the cutting sequence while standing clear of the sparks. The pendant has an on-off switch, speed control, and a clockwise-counterclockwise switch. Tech tip number 2. You need to pay careful attention to the direction of the cut because you only have sufficient hose and electric cable for one revolution. At the end of the cut, the machine should be run in the opposite direction to unwind the hose and cable or remount it for the next cut. The torch has a bevel collar, horizontal racking, and vertical adjustment. Another interesting feature of the Auto Picle is a spring-loaded torch bar with bearing, which is especially useful when cutting very large pipe, say 24 inches or bigger. Typically, pipe this size is welded up, and it may be out of round, or the weld joint itself may get in the way. This can cause the Auto Picle to wander off center. Kawaki Aronson solves this problem by offering an optional guide band that works with the torch bar bearing. The spring-loaded torch accurately tracks with the guide. The setup also allows the Auto Picle to maintain its accuracy when the pipe is vertical, preventing the weight of the machine from pulling the torch out of position and assuring a square cut. Tech tip number 3. The speed control on the remote pendant is very useful when cutting thick-wall pipe, up to 4 inches, the maximum capacity. When the Auto Picle is working in the 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock position, there's a tendency for the dross to fall back onto the cut. Using the remote pendant to slow down the machine in this zone should prevent this problem. To operate the Auto Picle, you select your direction and speed and light your preheat, and then turn on cutting oxygen. You rack the torch into the cut and start the machine with the on-board switch. Once it's moving, you use the pendant to adjust speed, remembering to watch the hoses and cable and to stand clear of the sparks. Wakey Aronson's family of pipe cutters. They make life a little easier.